Welcome guys to another Medieval Siege Battle with Midnight Games Online. We are playing Medieval Kingdoms 1212 AD, the free mod for Total War Attila. Today we have a 2-on-2 large army siege battle for you guys, and I'm really excited to show you guys this battle. We're going to start with the army compositions. And the first player here on the attackers is Ganda Barunda. He is leading the Republic of Genoa. And this is the general's bodyguard. So here is the general for the Republic of Genoa. This knight here, he's got a red salet, single-handed sword, very nice looking shield. And this is his bodyguard. Genoa also bringing some heavy shock cavalry, 14th century heavy shock cavalry here. You see various helms, including the great helms, the salets, and we have a pig-faced visor helm here. Very, very cool looking unit, very diverse array of 14th century armor, and a second unit of heavy shock cavalry here for Genoa. His troops a little bunched up here to start. He does have one piece of artillery, Trebuchet, as far as missiles go. He has the light bow infantry of Genoa, and these are 14th century units. This is a high era battle, guys, meaning 13th and 14th century armored units are allowed on the field, and no 15th century units are allowed on the field. And of these we see 1, 2, 3 bow units, as well as 3 units of the heavy crossbow infantry. These guys with some big shields and good helmets and some coifs here for armor, so very heavily armored for a missile unit. And 3 of these for the total of 6 missiles, which was the max in this game here. He also does bring 3 shock infantry, which again was the max for this game. These are the, looks like 15th century shock. Maybe that was a mistake by the player, or just a little sneaky move. I was quite sure that everyone else just brought 14th century. So Ganda Barunda with a little bit of a rule break here, but it's okay. It happens a lot, especially when the rules are a little when you have a lot of rules. But these 15th century heavy shock infantry certainly going to have an edge against high era units and early era units. Very heavily armored. He's got 1 and 2, and it looks like 3 over here, and all are from the 15th century. So that is going to be tough to overcome for the defenders. I actually didn't notice that during the game. As far as the spears, he does bring some 14th century heavy spear infantry. And the Lancieri Sestieri, if I'm saying that right, probably not. So we got 2 units here of the spears, and that might be it for his spear infantry. He did bring at least 1 polearm that I see in the back. The Guardia Ducale, and these are heavy polearm infantry, 14th century armor. Very, very cool looking units. Love the colors of Genoa. And I do wonder if he has another identical unit over here of his polearms. And that takes us over to his infantry units. These are 13th century infantry, so early era armor, 13th century armor. But they are the men-at-arms, so they are tough to get off the field because of their high level of skill, despite the fact that they only have the 13th century armor, mostly chainmail, along with some nice helms, is what we see for them. And he has more of them here, a second unit here, a third unit here with the 13th century armor. Oh, there's a third spear unit. So he does have 3 units of the heavy spears. But 3 units of the 13th century swords. A 4th unit here of the men-at-arms with the 13th century armor. 5th sword unit here. So it looks like 8 in total, because there's 3 more back here. Although these are different swords. These are medium melee infantry, whereas these swords here were heavy melee infantry. So it looks like 5 of the heavy melee infantry, the men-at-arms with the 13th century armor. And then here he has some medium swords or medium melee infantry who are also wearing the inferior 13th century armor. So these are probably his cheapest troops on the field over here. And I think that does it for the Republic of Genoa attacking this castle here. We're going to move over to the next player, and that is Caesar, and he controls the Empire of Nicaea, and he's the second attacker here. So Nicaea as well, with respecting the rules here, I guess unlike Genoa, with only 14th century and 13th century units. So no late era units, no 15th century units, as was agreed before the game here. His general, interestingly enough, is a shock unit, and he is an early era shock unit. So the general wearing old school 13th century Byzantine armor here, the Varangian Guard. But his actual shock infantry units are the 14th century shock infantry. So a little bit heavier armored over here. Let's take a look at the general. Oh, he's kind of hidden behind the tree. You can see him here with a sword. And he does bring, besides the general, who has 13th century armor, he brings 3 of these high era of 14th century armored Varangian Guard units. Most of them, I guess, besides the general, with the 2-handed weapons, the pole axes. And very nice. I really like the Byzantine armor, this scale mail, lamellar scale mail armor. Very cool, and different variations of it here and here as well as here. So that's the nucleus of his army. In the back he does have some light, or medium rather, pike infantry, but they are wearing 13th century armor, so for the purpose of this game they are definitely light. They do have some shields on them, which is very unusual for pikes, but very good for them. So they can absorb a little bit of missile damage while getting to the pike formation. That's always key. So he's got his 2 polearm units, his 3 shock units, the general, and he brings some medium shock cav here. Really like the exotic armor, the pointed helms of Nicaea. And a second unit over here. I wonder if that was all the cav that he brought. It does look like that is all the cavalry that he has. So also 2 cav units, just like his ally. And you don't really need that many for a siege. Let's see now the rest of his army. He does bring some spear infantry. These are the spears of Nicaea, the Scutitoi spears. And they are the high era spears, 14th century spears, which are supposed to be the most advanced armor that we see on the field. It's 14th century armor. This is just a medium spear unit though. And again with the colors of Nicaea and Byzantium on their shields. That's 1 unit. He has a second unit here and a third unit over here. 3 units of the Scutitoi spears. He brings some swordsmen as well, the Scutitoi swords. And here we see them. A lot of them with the slightly curved swords, single-handed swords, that were favored by the Nicaean army. We have 1 unit here, 2, 3. They're all wearing 14th century armor. 4 units over here. 4 sword units by the looks of it, and more in his siege towers, well, a lot more. So we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 units. That looks right. We have 9 towers over here and 4 more swords here. That's 13 sword units. Medium sword infantry, the Trebuchet swordsmen wearing 14th century armor. So that is going to be a lot. And in large armies, that's what you want to do as an attacker, is have so many units that the defenders, who always get less money, have a lot of trouble with you from a quantity perspective. His missiles are back here. He brings 14th century medium bows. These are the high era archers. Very interesting looking unit here. Most of them with the chainmail. And how many of these does he have? 1, 2, 3, 4. And his 5th missile unit is the heavy Greek fire throwers. So Greek fire, always dangerous on the battlefield, especially if it's a non-late era battle. And here we see that little Greek fire throwing instrument here that can throw the Greek fire. That is his 5th missile unit. And we're supposed to have 6, but it looks like he brought 2 more skirmish units, which we did count as missiles as well. So also a little rule break, again, probably incidental, probably not on purpose. These are the light skirmishers, the Catalan company Almogavars. I hope I said that right. Of Nicaea. So they're going to be throwing javelins. Light armor. They are the 14th century. They do have some helms and some little round shields. Some of them with some light body armor, some of them with pretty much nothing, just to close on their backs. And 2 units of those javelin throwers. So these are nice because they can skirmish, they can throw javelins, and then they can get into hand to hand. So that would be his missiles. Looks like 7 missile units. And here is his artillery. So he brings a bombard. And because it's a 14th century unit, it is legal. It is allowed in this game. So this is the bombard crew with 4 cannons. It's part of this bombard unit. And that does it for the attackers, guys. Let's move on to the defenders and their army compositions. So we're going to start with this army controlled by myself, Knight. This is the Holy Roman Empire, and here we have the Holy Roman Emperor here, just a very good looking unit. 14th century armor. It's got the spalders, very nice looking, great helm, straight edge single-handed sword, and the colors of the Holy Roman Empire. And these are the knights of his bodyguard. Holy Roman Emperor's bodyguard. And here we have, well, it looks like a bunch of units together, but the reserves, these, where are they now? These men over here are the dismounted Imperial Knights, and they are the most experienced ones with some experience points added. 14th century heavy shock infantry. Some of them with two-handed warhammers or battle axes, some of them with two-handed longswords, like this knight over here. And they are kind of being overlapped here by this Templar unit from my ally. Here we can see the captain of this most experienced knight unit right here under the flag. Get a good look at him here. Also with the great helm, different one than the Holy Roman Emperor had. Spalders, some armor here, and a nice shield that looks like a single-handed sword. Straight edge sword for the captain of this unit of dismounted Imperial Knights, which is the most experienced unit. We can see with the silver chevron with extra experience points added. And here we have slightly less experienced unit. Here's the captain here, guy with the open face helm and the beard, but still very dangerous. 14th century armored dismounted Imperial Knights. So 2 units of 14th century dismounted Imperial Knights back here. This one with a little more experience points. The other one also with some experience points, just a little bit less added. And I do have a 3rd unit, so I did also take the maximum of 3 shock infantry over here. This one also, kind of like that 2nd unit I showed you, 2 experience points added, but less than the 1st unit, which has 4 experience points added. Again, that doesn't make a huge difference in these games, but just a little bit of an edge for that 1st unit. So this is the 3rd unit of dismounted Imperial Knights for the Holy Roman Empire. 2 of the units being kept in reserve as part of this inner keep here. You see some nice barricades to defend this, some stones here, and pretty much every way being blocked off. So continuing to look at the army of the Holy Roman Empire, we do have some spearmen holding pretty much every choke point available into this inner keep. These are 14th century sergeant spearmen, the spears of the Holy Roman Empire. We have a 2nd unit of spears here, and they are right in front of a pike unit. These are the medium pike infantry for the Holy Roman Empire. They're also wearing 14th century armor. We can see some of them with some spalders, helms, chainmail. So that is 2 units here that will be very tough to break through if the attackers manage to push around this way, avoiding this barricade here, and try to just attack through an opening. They're going to have to go through both of these units. And on the other side, we have the 3rd unit of spears and the 2nd unit of pikes in a similar formation. Sergeant spearmen here, 14th century armor, and the pikes behind them with the 14th century armor. So there are my 3 spear units and my 2 polearm units. It looks like I have a 4th spear unit over here. Again, 14th century armor, same deal, medium spear infantry. Then there are some bow units. Well, here is my artillery first of all. That is a Trebuchet. It's kind of snuck in behind some cover here. And then for the missiles, we do have 14th century archers here. These are the high era archers of the Holy Roman Empire. And some more missile units along the walls. So this is a 14th century bow unit as well. 3rd unit here, 4th unit here, and then we have 1 unit of crossbows, the 14th century sergeant crossbows. And they're taking cover behind the battlements. And we can see them nicely here. Besides that, there are some other infantry here to guard the outer walls of this castle. These are the 14th century sergeants. They are medium melee infantry, some of them with straight edge swords. It looks like pretty much all of them with the sword that I can tell. Or some type of blade. A 2nd unit here and a 3rd unit here. So 3 units of those along with the spear unit and one of the 2 lesser experienced dismounted Imperial Knights to hold the outer wall here along with some missiles. And the defenders were allowed bastion artillery, so at least one bastion artillery per defender. So this is a bastion catapult here on the battlements to help out the siege towers, or rather the arrow towers here to hold the outer walls, and some deployables as well. We do have pit traps outside the gate here. Lastly, the Imperial Knights, 2 units of mounted Imperial Knights. Here's the captain of this unit. Some very cool looking 14th century armor here, guys. You have the pig face helm here. You have a great helm here with some horns and just like a more advanced version of the great helm. Some would call this the sugarloaf helm over here. And and a sallet. So very nice, diverse 14th century armor, high era armor for this game. And this is a very, very historical mod, meaning they did take a lot of the arms and armor straight out of medieval manuscripts or museums and kind of go by what really was there. So that's the second unit of Imperial Knights. And that would be it for the army of the Holy Roman Empire. And we're going to move on to the last player, which was my ally controlling the Principality of Antioch. This is Dominic DW13. He is controlling Antioch. And his general, the Templar bodyguard right here, almost as cool looking as the Holy Roman Emperor himself. He's got his golden spalders. He's got some, by the looks of it, scale mail. Hard to see him in the shadow of this structure here, but does look like some classical scale mail type armor with an actual plate mail breastplate kind of in the center. Open face sallet with some possibly ostrich feathers here. Or excuse me, peacock feathers. Hard to tell right here. And the Templar Knights of his bodyguard. Very cool looking unit. And as far as the rest of his army here, we'll start with in the inner keep. Behind this central barricade and pit traps here, he's got some Pavy spears. These are the heavy spearmen of Antioch. One unit here. Behind this barricade, he has some heavy crossbows mounted on the barricade, which is very, very smart here. They can do a lot of damage before somebody breaks this barricade down, and really either shooting down at these knights or men that would be trying to break this down and not losing a single guy typically, and they could kill a unit or even 2 units before this barricade goes down. So these heavy crossbows are actually not bad in hand-to-hand themselves due to their heavy armor, but typically once the barricade breaks or is close to breaking, after they've racked up their kills, they would retreat, and he does have this line that they can retreat behind, which is another line of Pavy spears here, creating a nice kind of box that will be really hard to break through no matter which way you go. Here you have to go through a barricade and a spear unit, and here you have to go through a spear unit and a pike unit before reaching the inner keep. And here he has yet another spear unit guarding the entrance to the inner keep. And they're on a bit of on an incline too, so it's kind of an uphill battle against these guys. This is a third unit of Pavy spears for him. That's 3 units just right here of Pavy spears, really helping out this inner keep. And in his reserves, he has a 4th unit of Pavy spears here, and he brings some dismounted Antiochian knights, which we can see here. Very cool looking units, some of them with maces, some of them with single-handed swords. Really like the armor on the dismounted Antiochian knights. Besides them, he does bring 14th century, so high era or 14th century dismounted Templar Knights. Very strong unit, 2-handed battle axes here. This is their captain of the Templar Knight unit here with a straight edge sword, a shield, and an open face sallet. And I see another unit of dismounted Templar Knights. Again, these 14th century dismounted Templar Knights and 14th century dismounted Imperial Knights would be the strongest units on the field if Genoa hadn't brought, against the rules I might add, 15th century shock infantry, which are not supposed to be in this battle, but they were brought here anyway, and we played through it instead of remaking. So probably because we didn't notice it, to be honest. So we do have those 2, and he does bring a 3rd unit, and they're also dismounted Templar Knights over here. And that's sort of what he has in the inner keep. Now, as the Holy Roman Empire guards against the Nicene forces here, Dominic and his Principality of Antioch are going to guard against the Genoans, which are attacking sort of the front and this side here. So outside of the inner keep, he does have more reserves. He has another unit of Pavy spears here with some dismounted Antiochian knights. He's got foot turcopoles, 14th century, for his missiles. Another unit of poppy spearmen here, and another unit of heavy crossbows back here. And going to be holding the walls here, or maybe just the city near the walls, with some lighter infantry. These are the 14th century Armenian swordsmen. They are light melee infantry, not a strong unit, but they do have 14th century armor, so they can hold for a while. I like the round shields of the Armenians here. Some of them with straight edge swords, some of them with wooden maces with just steel heads. So one unit of the Armenian swords here, a second unit here, and then a unit of dismounted Antiochian knights here. These units can mount the walls and help out his bastion catapult and his arrow towers, last longer, or they can kind of hold back here. So we'll see what he does. It'll be interesting for sure. And a unit of the foot Turcopoles here in this checkpoint. And that looks like, we already mentioned the bastion catapult, that looks like the entirety of Antioch's army. He looks like the only player that did not bring any cavalry, besides his general. Alright guys, that was, again, large army, so thank you for sticking with us. We're going to start the battle here now, and let this get underway.
Many of us carry scars honorably gained in defense of our people. Today we stand ready again in their defense. If necessary, we will die for our cause. Better yet, we will help our enemies die. Stand ready, men.
And there's our speech delivered by the Emperor. And here we see the bastion catapult getting underway here with 19% fire damage already, helped out by the arrow towers against a medium siege tower. So that's probably the right target rather than the heavy one. This Trebuchet also starting to fire away. Light bow infantry getting in range here and using fire arrows against the bastion catapult here. Interesting strategy. He's trying to light it on fire. It is a wooden structure, but it is now firing away itself and almost hitting the Trebuchet, which returns fire. And one of those four was a direct hit, incinerating this bastion catapult and sending these four catapult crew running for their lives. But the arrow tower is still firing away now themselves at this group of archers. And they are just trying to take out this bastion catapult crew who's fleeing the castle, trying to save their lives, but now smartly being pulled back as the Trebuchet continues to bombard the walls. And these archers will have taken just 2 losses here as they hop over this barricade, some of these walls, and do some damage here. 3 men now down due to arrow tower fire, and they're back under cover of the trees. So some nice opening exchanges here, and Genoa positioning their general and their cavalry off to the side and continuing a bombardment of the walls. Now, depends on the settlement, depends what you're trying to do here. If he is firing at the inner settlement with fire projectiles, you can light these on fire eventually. Even these buildings that appear to be, at least on the outside, made of stone, you can set them on fire, or at least the contents that are inside and maybe the roof, and that will lower the morale. But if you're trying to break the walls, I would switch to the regular shot on the catapult, which is the boulder, the stone projectiles, because they'll do more damage to stone, and he does just that. So we'll see what he's trying to do. Now he's hammering this part of the wall here, 7% damage with 4% damage here, and it looks like this building does catch on fire. And again, the more fire there is, the lower the morale of the defenders will be. But you want to be careful with your Trebuchet and not waste too much ammunition. His ally here, the Nicaeans, sort of hanging back. Oh no, they are using the bombard with a few shots being fired already, and looks like they've done 30% damage to this fort wall here. That is much, much more damage than the Trebuchet has done. And the Bastion catapult appears to have lit a tower on fire, since these towers were not ordered to move yet. And the Scudetoids have lost 4 men trying to flee this tower to the fire. So the Bastion catapult doing some good work here, taking out an enemy siege tower and causing 4 men to die. And now starting to work on the next tower, which is down 86%. Oh, again, 100% fire damage. And the men fleeing now, already 1 lost, trying to escape this burning tower. Lucky for them, it's the outside that burns first. That would be scary, trying to escape a burning wooden medieval siege tower. And it collapses. And only 1 man lost here, luckily for the Nicaeans. They're going to be running out of siege towers pretty soon. They only have 1 medium one left. The bombard firing away at the wall here. Excuse me. Doing some good work, just focusing on one part of the wall and battering away at it. And you got it down to 54% now. And his ammunition looks to be at least at 2/3 left. So he will certainly destroy this wall if he sticks with it. Bastion artillery here, firing away at this siege tower, which is already at 87% damage, and will be helped with the fire arrows from the arrow towers. So the real siege going on here as some of these cannonballs sail over. The troops protected by the walls, but the building's getting damaged too. And another shot here, and will this be it for a 3rd siege tower? Yes, he does hit the bottom of it. Well, that was me. I did hit the bottom of it with that Bastion catapult. I don't think I've ever killed 3 siege towers with the Bastion catapult, guys. It was really this bombardment strategy by Nicaea and refusal to move them forward, but keeping them in my range, that allowed me to do this. And I'm not sure he realizes that this tower is caught on fire. And we'll see what happens. And just a huge... And actually the whole unit incinerated. No, my bad, some of them do escape. But massive damage to this unit, as there should be for being kept in a smoldering tower. Looks like 34 men died by the work of this Bastion catapult just in there alone. And it picks up 1 kill incidentally here, but really 34 kills here plus 5 from the other 2 towers is almost 40 kills. And 3 towers down. And it is still firing at this unit. But that'll be a miss. Wall over here down to 72%, and the spears have been shifted in anticipation of a breach here by the Holy Roman Empire. On this side we do have Genoa moving up, kind of selectively pushing up units with two siege towers to the side and some crossbows and infantry. And it looks like the Bastion catapult has now run out of ammunition, killing officially with only 1 kill, but really taking out 3 siege towers and causing 39 men to be burned alive. Bastion cannon whittling down these walls. Here they are now at a very critical stage, 81% damaged by the Bastion artillery. Cannon though with a few misses it looks like, so it is very low on ammo itself, but it should have enough to get this done. Unless he decides to save that ammunition to take out the enemy artillery, the defending artillery, which is a viable option as well. Now lots of arrow fire at these towers, but the men inside quite safe. Looks like further damage here, probably from the Bastion cannon. 84% damage to these walls. But most of these archers being pulled from the walls now, except this central unit here, which is in between the 2 siege towers, and replaced by the German infantry, the sergeants, who will help out this Bastion catapult crew in defending the walls here. Arrow towers and archers too now, targeting the crew, trying to push up this battering ram. Not as the Scudetoi swordsmen. So lots of incoming arrow fire here as they push the battering ram forward.
The enemy has engaged our ally.
Arrow tower fire, we can see that. The fiery arrows coming from the arrow towers and the regular ones coming from the archers from the gate.
Remember who you are. Now fight.
Just scary to be part of this formation, guys. And you never know when an arrow's going to zip over that battering ram into your face, pretty much. These men down to 86 men. And now the archers with a better shot here, firing away. And it looks like maybe some artillery fire as well. I don't think that was this artillery at any rate. Maybe I'm mistaken. The fort wall down to 90% now. And the archers here firing away at the battering ram, which will have to go through some pit traps, but the battering ram itself can usually take those out. And let's push again with these Scudetoi swords in their critical moments here in cinematic view, guys. And some of them going down now to the arrow towers and to the archers over the gate. There goes another Scudetoi swordsman. More and more of them going down, but they're pretty much at the gates now. Another one just took an arrow. So very close to the gates now, but down to 69 men, guys. The wall here down to 93%. Let's see if this cannon is still working on it, or if they're going to save some of their ammunition. If you have it down to 93%, you might as well use that last shot or two, unless he's really rethinking how low his ammunition situation is. Sometimes you start working on the wall and you don't realize how much ammunition it will cost you. And the gate now being battered, you can see here just the dust from the impacts. The damage is already 70%. And there's still 66 of these men. So the spear is being shifted here. As the gate gets battered and battered, to hold the gate, the spearmen are running. But there it goes.
The gates have been blown apart!
The gate has been blown open and the spearmen are here. And these Trebuchet soldiers have cleared the gate. But they're always going to be wary charging in because they know that this gatehouse can drop oil on them. So the spearmen now forming up. And ready to hold this gate which has been destroyed. This unit wavering, sustaining casualties, too much arrow fire from the top, and now as they sort of retreat, they're going to trample through some pit traps and lose even more men. Looks like they're trying to find cover from these archers, but down to 50 men in the unit, and while the archers can't reach them anymore, this arrow tower can. So Nicaea with another unit of Trebuchet that's been badly compromised and depleted. Walls over here being held by the Armenian swords here, having a tough time against Genoa. Whoops. And actually, 2 units breaking on the walls. The Genoese assault. And that's these lighter Armenian units, as we see, just being cut down. So the walls on the side of Antioch, now with the attackers finding a strong foothold here. These foot turret patrols still trying to provide cover fire for their allies, but the Armenians unlikely to rally here. And if they do, they're badly depleted. So the wall, despite the best efforts of Antioch, badly compromised here. This unit with 42 kills in very good position. And these Armenian swords rally here just outside the gate, which is good, since at least they can try holding that for a little while longer. But more attackers being pushed up the towers, and now we see heavy crossbows here. They're going to be very tough to get off the walls, since they can actually fire back. Some of them have begun to do so.
Enemy units have rallied and returned to the battle. Nothing remains of that tower now.
We have a tower destroyed. Looks like by the artillery. Or possibly just captured. And these men from Genoa now securing some of the courtyard here. And let's ride with these knights as they charge some shock infantry from 2 sides and just crushing the shock.
The gates. Brace!
And that's one of those 15th century units. Now we do have pole arms rushing in against Cav, so this Cav unit will move aside, and so will this Cav from the Holy Roman Empire. But they did kill almost 100 of those shock infantry with that maneuver there, hitting them from 2 sides at the same time. This unit with 30 kills on that charge and no man lost.
Disaster! Enemy forces have seized our gates!
Losing 1 man. Looks like this gate has now been lost. And the wall is being breached here by cannon fire. So he does take another shot. He's down to 4 ammunition. But he blows open a breach here, and these dismounted knights are all that will be left to hold that breach. The main gates being taken as well by Genoa now. Now that there is no oil coming down, since he actually has taken the gate, rid the gatehouse of whoever's been dropping oil, he can now move his entire army in, and he is moving his troops
enemy
forward
are ambushing us
to move through the gate here. Imperial Knights have set up here among the debris of the walls to hold the breach. And it does look like there were some casualties, some of the stragglers being taken out from this knight unit. 5 knights down. Trade in for 30 kills though, of course you take that every time. And only 1 knight down from this unit with 35 kills. So it's, again, very much worth it, but not coming away completely unscathed for those knight units. These towers still sort of just holding here, not committing yet for some reason. He has shifted men over here, and looks like sergeants will be racing up to meet them, protect this tower and maybe this staircase. And the cavalry of the Imperial Knights here throwing some feints here, trying to get a charge in, and they do charge, but they're going to be met by the bodyguard of Genoa and another cavalry unit over here circling, trying to find a target.
Enemy troops are at the walls!
But they do have pole arms here that have blocked them off. So this cav unit with a charge here against the 14th century heavy swords, and another 20 or so kills, 23 kills on the charge, taking out a couple members of the general's bodyguard, but now stuck in combat with the cav unit. It's going to be very hard to flee. Much easier to flee against the melee unit. And this unit here being wisely pulled back rather than charging into heavy pole arms. Let's go into cinematic view, guys, as we see some Knights of the Holy Empire take on the Genoans. Just a mass of Genoan attackers here. Let's enjoy cinematic view. And the sergeants on the walls here, holding the wall.
Our gates have fallen to the enemy.
Swordsmen. They are holding the wall here as best they can and trying to protect this tower from the Empire of Nicaea. On the left we see the sergeants of the Holy Roman Empire. On the right we see the Trebuchet swords
Men are broken and
of
are
Nicaea,
fleeing.
both of whom are wearing 14th century armor, that armor available to their respective factions. These medium sword units doing their best to try to ensure victory for their side. This This unit of archers on top of the gate with 83 kills, and now switching sides to the inside of the gate and raining arrows down on some more. Picking up another kill there. Spears have shifted here, as have these dismounted Imperial Knights, which looks like they lost 9 men to probably missile fire or artillery fire. Spears here setting up in the mid-city with archers and a sword unit being pushed up, possibly to block this entrance off. But the attackers now winning the outer walls almost exclusively here in the center and the side, winning 2 of the gates and in the process of taking the 3rd. Very few defenses now remain for the defenders. Not sure if Nicaea is aware, but the arrow towers that are firing fire arrows have slowly
captured the gates!
Burned this tower down to 84%, and he may lose yet another tower to arrow fire, which would be, or to basically fire damage, which would not be good for him if another unit were to be partially cooked. The sergeant unit now being hit from 2 sides by Nicaean swords. On the verge of breaking, the German sergeants of the Holy Empire. And some artillery taking out that tower, and that will break these German sergeants. But it will also cost Nicaea some men as well. So the defenders now, if we don't count the generals, with 1 cav unit remaining, this unit of Imperial Knights, with 55 men left out of 60, they do have 30 kills. The king with 1 experience point added the chevron. You can add another one during the battle if you rack up enough kills, so 30 kills will get them part way there to pick up another experience point, which will make them just ever so slightly tougher in the battle. This archer unit here doing its best to use all its arrows, 94 kills already, and firing away with the last of its arrows here. They're almost out of ammo.
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
There we go. They're now completely out of ammunition. So all they can do now is participate in melee. 94 kills for this archer unit. Very good numbers. Especially against a heavily armored faction such as the Empire of Nicaea. We do see the attackers trying to advance here at these Antiochian crossbows with a nice line of sight here. Cheer ya, buggers. That's a great way to encourage their troops, and possibly in range of that sword unit. Yes, they are. They're going to get some shots off. This unit taking some casualties. Now being pulled back, even though they did score 17 kills with very little ammunition used. So the heavy 14th century crossbows definitely doing big damage. Now we have some light bow infantry that was pulled back from the walls, a depleted unit still with a little bit of ammunition left. Possibly he wanted them to use their ammo first. There we go. Yes, that seems to be the plan. It looks like 4 kills right there in 1 shot. They're almost out of ammunition. And another shot there. There's another 3 kills, but now they're in range. And being attacked by these man-at-arms with 13th century armor, they will cut these archers down quick. Looks like he could have had 1 more shot with those archers. But the man-at-arms themselves just taking in a hail of arrow fire from the inner keep, and they're going to rout as well. They do rally.
The enemy refuses to admit defeat.
Like continue to waver.
Has rallied.
And that arrow fire is sort of coming from everywhere. from the inner keep here. These archers being pulled back here, so that half a unit saved with 94 kills, but they are completely out of ammunition. And this tower with 94% fire damage now from the fire arrows. And some interesting maneuverings here. We see a unit of archers that still have ammunition. Moving up here, possibly try to get on this side of the battlements here, near closest to the inner keep, and possibly to, yes, they're going to be firing fire arrows to help this arrow tower take out this siege tower, which the attackers have left here. And much quicker on the fire damage here. Let's see what happens to this unit of 120 out of 120 Trebuchet swords, as this tower will now almost certainly get lit on fire. 99% fire damage. And the archers with one last fire volley here. And they've done it. That's 100% fire damage. The attackers realizing that and pulling them out before it completely burns, and we see the damage just ticking up slowly as the fire damage is 100%, which will happen now that the fire damage is 100%. 3 Trebuchet swords already burning in the tower, but he managed to pull them out in time, so we won't see another 40 or so die. The top of the tower now burning. And the attacker's not liking that very much, trying to push up the swords, but seeing that this is all blocked. And having completed their mission, these archers are going to be, looks like, just maneuvered back and maybe down the stairs here. So they don't have to use the east stairs and be possibly exposed to the attackers. This unit with only 3 losses, but the tower being burned down, so that's a 4th tower, I believe, for the attackers. That's down, although at this stage it doesn't matter since they have a breach here.
To the enemy.
And they've just captured the 3rd gate now on this side, so all 3 gates belonging to the attackers. And these archers do get away fully with full health, 98 out of 98 archers. 7 kills to their credit, as well as burning that, helping the arrow tower burn this tower. This depleted archer unit here, possibly being just thrown into hand-to-hand. But probably not the smartest thing, as the attackers are aware. They pull back their missiles, and they're going to go in with a charge and just absolutely clean house. Take out this unit of bows here. The Genoese town.
The men are broken and are fleeing.
Big charge by 14th century knights. Or rather, not knights, men-at-arms wearing 14th century armor. And now the missile units here giving their response, but they're firing into shields. The wearing 14th century armor who are in shield wall. And the archers of the Holy Roman Empire are responding. And I'm not sure if they're targeting missiles or if they're targeting the cavalry, which is temporarily exposed here. But they are returning fire. It looks like possibly targeting the cavalry here. The knights are very heavily armored, and this is tough to score kills against these heavily armored units, but they will continue to score kills if Genoa leaves his cavalry there. So it will be smart for Genoa to pull them out of firing range. Especially because the general seems to be.
The enemy have rallied their units.
Action sort of happening on this side of the wall here. Now the Trebuchet here with 38 kills already for the Holy Roman Empire. setting itself up for the battle to come for the inner keep. And it looks like a long-range shot being taken here. And a miss. So sort of a stalemate here in the last phase of the battle for the mid-city before the defenders go for their final push into the inner keep. The attackers now only with 25.5 minutes left to take the inner keep. This artillery unit firing away still. And a hit there, killing several troops. More artillery shots by the Holy Roman Empire. Big hit there and partial hit here. That was a big hit right into an infantry unit. And from 38, they've gone to 68 kills. Still with plenty of ammunition left. Looks like at least 80% of their ammo, if not more. Here's a charge against some retreating spears by the Nicene cavalry. The spears do turn, but they're going to take big damage up from that charge. Good news for them is they do have the hill, so the cav will pull out. And they're already depleted, so they're wavering now. But so are the spears, due to the archer fire from both sides. Crossbows here firing away, but they are now exposed, and this spear unit gives out, which they're on the verge of doing. And more trebuchet shots here into this mass of men. And big hits by the trebuchet. Lots of burning bodies here, guys. Nicaea clumping up men on the side here with Genoa as both allies try to push this side to clear the mid-city, and looks like I am taking advantage of that with this trebuchet. From 68 kills to 172 in a single volley, guys. That's 100 kills. Another big shot and another huge hit here. Burning the attackers. Some nice partial hits here, catching men in every shot. Not as big as that first volley, which killed over 100 men. With that volley of the 4 trebuchets firing just one time. The walls here holding for now, the inner city round, with the walls long being gone. We have a little box created here with the walls blocked by this unit, the walkway by this unit, the archers protecting this arrow tower and firing away, and these sergeants. Shield wall over here protecting this side. These Imperial Ritter could block this off as well. But rather, they're facing this way, so they're kind of blocking off this type of flank maneuver. And it's going to be scary to enter here on these stone beds, which will slow the enemy down. A nice charge here by the Trebuchet swords.
Our men have given up and are running for their lives.
And this will be a nice battle here, guys. Enjoy the cinematic views. The sergeants in Nicaea, rather the Trebuchet swords, with some nice sword work here with their curved blades against the sergeants of the Holy Roman Empire wearing the 14th century armor. And as this battle continues, with the attackers funneling more troops in here, guys, and this trebuchet, excuse me, continues to go to work. Another hit here on an archer unit. And we do have some cav moving out. Possibly with an intent to charge.
Have been rallied.
Let's ride with these German knights here. And a big charge scattering the swordsmen of Nicaea. And they do pull out just in time. From 30 kills, they've gone up to 88 kills. Are they going to get caught? Yes, they do seem to get caught here. But they continue to try to be pulled out as these archers give them supportive fire against the cav of Nicaea. Interesting to see if the shock infantry get involved. These cav will not want to enter these stone beds, but they have taken out about 9 more of these knights. 39 knights left out of 60 with 88 kills. The Trebuchet here now with racked up its numbers to 432 kills, guys. Big numbers for the Trebuchet of the Holy Roman Empire. And here we see these units, the spears and the pikes, engage a massive push. Realizing we have only 20 minutes left, the attackers are going for it, guys. We have a little bit of everything here. Pikes and spears holding with another unit of spears behind them from the Antioch army against a massive push by Genoa and Nicaea. The attackers throwing polearms, and it looks like we have some of that 15th century illegal shock here as well, pushing in. The Trebuchet with the shot, and a big hit. And 2 more coming down, and just crunching into, oh my goodness, into the attackers. Taking out massive amounts of attacking troops here. From 430 kills, we're up to 507 with that shot, guys. That is over 70 kills in one volley. The Imperial Cavalry here, 39 made it out. And another big hit by the artillery here. And 2 more direct hits, breaking multiple units, guys. And this entire push has been vaporized here, incinerated. The remaining units still fighting or wavering.
Our men flee the field of
and
battle.
From 507, we've gone to 651 kills. From my Trebuchet, that would be, my math is right, 144 kills in a single volley here. The attackers hurling in their 15th century shock now with less than 18 minutes to go. Antioch providing good cover fire here with the Trebuchet. This barricade still being held. These crossbows having racked up 150 kills. And more units here. Circling in, trying to find a way in. If they can't break through the pikes, they'll try to break these spears. This knight unit will charge straight through the pit traps. And into these spears, and a big charge into the spears by this knight unit, or heavy shock cavalry unit. As we see, they lost a bunch to these pit traps, more to the archers.
The enemy has obliterated
but they've killed 20 spearmen on the charge. The archers now firing away at them. But this artillery unit's still going to work. Oh my goodness, guys. Just incinerating the offensive here and taking multiple white flags going up, breaking multiple units, guys. These defenders somehow still holding. These spears with only 43 kills.
Enemy units have returned to the battle.
Almost all these bodies being just from artillery fire. And that Trebuchet is up to 790 kills, guys. I think this might have been my best game with the Trebuchet. I don't think I've ever had this many Trebuchet kills. against a live opponent, you know, non-AI. And the attackers here, 16 minutes and 15 seconds to go. They're trying to use their missiles now to soften up the defenses. Good strategy, and sending in sort of 1 or 2 units at a time, or 3 depleted units at a time, which is about the same as 1 unit, rather than clumping up as badly as they did. You just see this mountain of armored bodies here. And more bodies all around
their weapons and are fleeing.
Trebuchet fire, and we do have a unit breaking over here. That is the last unit trying to hold the mid-city. Oh no, there is another unit here, but they will be surrounded. They're fighting Scudetoi swords on this side, and now their flank is exposed, and their rear is exposed. And the Scudetoi are going to surround these sergeants. They've been attacking the rear, they've been shaken. They won't last much longer. And the mid-city completely in the hands of the attackers now. They're pressing the inner keep from, it will be from all sides at this stage. And this Trebuchet now has earned a silver chevron due to all these kills. So when they're done firing, the crew of 30 will have just a little more bravado and they are firing away again. Let's see their targets here. Picking off part of this unit here and crunching through other units, causing another unit to break and another unit to waver. Maybe not quite as many kills in that shot, but still an impressive shot. 818 kills, guys. I've definitely never gotten this many kills before. That I can say for sure. This unit thinking about charging, but thinks better of charging into spears with these archers covering them. We do have this crossbow unit taking the middle barricade here with 11 kills. Barricade with full ammunition.
Our men have given up and are running for their lives.
We have this unit of spears that has held for so long with 50 kills, wavering now. But this, you couldn't have asked more of this defense right here than to take this type of toll. I mean, if we just get a bird's eye view, this type, and they're standing on bodies too, this type of toll here, almost exclusively artillery kills. There were a few shots that were long distance shots, and some shots on the side here. And we have a dead general. He was picked off from range here, and he's trying to move him out of the way, but it was too late. Big artillery shot here, and just crunching through a archer unit. A lot of high era archers there, about 30 of them, 32, 33, succumbing to a big volley by the artillery here. So now the artillery up to 851 kills. Certainly my record, guys, and it keeps growing. But Dominic DW with those Turka poles, 91 kills for this unit. They haven't lost a single man, and that one kill, oh now they lose one, and that one kill that really means it all is that dead general for Genoa. The Knights of his bodyguard, still 16 of them remaining in play, but general dying is going to be a morale penalty for the attackers, guys. The defenders just need 12 minutes and 20 seconds to hold on, but this pike and spear wall looks like it's completely done. 20 men left, 38 men left, both wavering, both about to break. The Trebuchet here with just record-setting numbers.
The men are broken and are fleeing.
And it looks like Antioch pulling his crossbows in behind safety lines here of the inner keep. The general here going to try to do a rally cry on these units here. See if that works. They're going to gain some morale, but they're only going to hold a few seconds by the looks of it. So some reserve knights being thrown in over here. And this side now in hand to hand, although the spears look to be wavering and kind of uncertain.
enemy is breaking down one of our barricades!
And it looks like a cannon with direct fire into a barricade here. But artillery fire again cooking. Another, looks like 40 men of this archer unit. This one already being down at 65, and this one now down at 52 out of 98 guys. That's 46 men in a single shot here for the artillery of the Holy Roman Empire, up to 896 kills. And it looks like it still has perhaps one more shot. So we'll see what kind of damage they do. The cannon here now out of ammunition. It's like with one shot they did some damage here. The barricade being down to, well, only 12% damage. So it must have avoided some of those shots. The angle not being great for the cannon up this hill. But the Sergeant Crossbows with 50 kills of their own, they're down half a unit though, taking javelin fire from the Catalan Company of Nicaea.
Nothing remains of this unit now.
So the Sergeant Crossbows, badly damaged. But here we go, another shot by the artillery and just crunching into two fully healthy units.
The unit's ammunition is spent and it can no longer fire.
And another gigantic shot with just so many men killed in a single volley. And I think that was the artillery's final shot. And from 896, they're up to 993. That's 97 kills in a single shot, guys. And with 7 more kills, they could get to 1,000, which would be a great number to get to. They don't have any more shots left, but the 30 artillery crew now have a double silver chevron, which is about 5 out of 9 experience points. They started with 0 for all the kills they have, so they're feeling pretty confident, feeling pretty good about themselves. And you know, since they're fresh, you can now use them in hand-to-hand against tired enemies, and maybe they get a few more kills in hand-to-hand. I'll be interesting to track here. Looks like we have some dismounted Imperial Knights taking on some Varangian Guard.
An entire unit has perished.
And 14th century, heavily armored Imperial Knights of Germany are up against the Varangian Guard, the Varangian Guard of the Emperor. But Genoa looks like with a charge with a depleted cab unit, on the backs of these dismounted Imperial Knights, causing to waver. The Varangians looks like will clean them up. Now that the cav has helped them out, it should not be too big of a problem. And another cav charge into the backs of these knights.
The men are broken and are fleeing.
And they do break. The Varangians succeed. Over here we do have some knight units breaking against the, or rather some Scudotoy swords breaking against the pikes. Just under 8 minutes left now for the attackers, guys. They are going in from all sides here. The dismounted Templars have moved forward and charged against some Scudotoy swords and spears, but they've been flanked by these swords here, so a risky move here by these Templar Knights of Antioch. And just 7 minutes to go, guys. I'm looking at this and I don't think the attackers will have the time to secure the victory point here. It is possible still, and a big push here by Varangian Guard. 2 units of Varangian Guard, a depleted unit and a fully healthy unit. And archers, I guess, being purposely or not,
nothing remains of this unit now.
The Varangians will hammer through these spears, but it may take them a little while. They are just too skilled and too strong to be held in place by the spear unit, even a heavy Paving spears of the 14th century. You can see they're being cut down. And a depleted crossbow unit being thrown in to just keep those Varangians at bay. Some pikes from Nicaea also moving in on the side here. And here we have a unit of the dismounted Antioch Knights, which have helped the Templars out, taking out some Scudetoi swords and actually trying to take back the mid-city here. Now with 5 minutes and 35 seconds left, guys, we have this archer unit here completely out of arrows. This is the part of the battle where it just comes down to hand. These archers with perhaps one volley left in them for the defenders. And more units wavering here, and these archers that have been thrown into hand-to-hand will not last. So the attackers with a chance, with 5 minutes and 12 seconds left, to push through into the inner keep, guys, and possibly pull off an unlikely victory. But the defenders are responding here. Antioch pushing up what looks to be his last unit of Templars. It looks like this unit of, or second last unit of Templar Knights. And there is one unit of dismounted Imperial Knights left as well. They're being pushed up here, and luckily these archers wavering spears have held long enough.
All available ammunition.
For these dismounted Templars to create another line of defense here. But the Paving spears do break under the assault of these Anglo-Varangian guard. And these guard with only 9 losses and 180 kills, just a brutally strong unit, breaking through the archers and charging into dismounted Templars. And this is going to be a very tough battle with two of the greatest warriors of the high medieval era, sets of warriors of the high medieval era, going at it toe-to-toe, the Templar Knights and the Varangian Guard. Both renowned for their combat skills and their martial prowess. And that's great to see in cinematic view, guys. Moving to the side, we do have some of these cav here. The Imperial Knights circling, looking for targets, and they see one. But they do get incinerated by Greek fire. They managed to hit the general and kill 30 of his men, but that Greek fire incinerating 30 knights, and the general and his Varangians
the field of battle.
will wipe out the rest. So a shot at the general to take out the last remaining general. The attackers unsuccessful, and he still has 88 men in his unit besides himself. So the attackers do keep one general alive. And this unit of Greek fire showing how dangerous it can be. A unit of archers here that are out of ammunition with 57 kills. Looks like they will be thrown into hand-to-hand. And 2 minutes, 18 seconds left, guys. The attackers are in the inner keep. They've set foot in it here, but are being held back by the defenders. And a unit of Varangians breaking. Another depleted unit being thrown in here. And these Catalan company have snuck in the side and have charged into this archer unit, which is now a melee unit due to the lack of arrows they have. Taking on 2 skirmisher units here. The attackers really trying to break through on this side. 1 minute and 40 left. And these crossbows here, taking out the artillery crew since that seems to be their only target that they have left.
Flies through.
And these crossbows here softening up this spear unit. Before what I assume will be a charge by the
Enemy
Cab.
units have been rallied.
Just 1 minute left in the battle, guys. And we have this artillery unit here being thrown in to hand to try to get the record against a skirmisher unit which is wavering. And the artillery unit now in hand to hand, guys. And it looks like they scored a kill here and are charging in against some wavering units to try to get the record. 24 seconds left, guys. And here we go. The defenders will hold on by the looks of it. And 1,005 kills now due to their hand-to-hand success. Being charged by some knights, but not a great angle there since their own units in the way. And the defenders will hold and pull off this victory, guys. They've defended the inner keep long enough, and the attackers, some great action here from all four players, but the attackers just ran out of time, just not enough time to take this inner keep. And the defenders have so much reserves that even if the timer was longer, I'm not sure the attackers would have pulled it off anyway. But a great battle, guys. Thank you for joining me and seeing what turned out to be my record for artillery kills, guys. So let's take a look at the numbers here. Starting off with my army here, Knight controlling the Holy Roman Empire. Looks like the Holy Roman Emperor not involved in the fighting, and he does have some extra experience points added. 0 kills, fully healthy unit. Same with this unit of experienced dismounted Imperial Knights. The other two Knight units did give it their all. This one with disappointing numbers, only 52 kills. This one with a good number of kills, 132 kills. Both units wiped out. We do have some spear units that survived the battle. These two units took minimal casualties, but only 13 kills. This unit with 111 kills, very nice numbers, completely wiped out though. And same with this unit, wiped out with 50 kills and completely wiped out. I believe this is the unit that held that spot near the inner keep where the artillery just racked up the kills because these guys held on for so long. And this must be the pike unit that was with them, and they have 90 kills but also were completely wiped out. We have one pike unit remaining which took some casualties, got 17 kills. Now the melee infantry, the sergeants, 80 kills, 88 kills, and 57 kills. Not terrible, but completely wiped out in the process. The archers with good numbers here for my army. 140 kills for this unit, 94 here, only 12 here, very disappointing. A few survivors maybe, and 77 kills here. So overall, pretty good numbers on the archers. 53 kills for the crossbows, which were still firing at the end of the battle, if I remember correctly. Now the Imperial Knights, I thought they would have done better. This unit with only 67 kills and completely wiped out. This unit much better with 108 kills, also completely wiped out. But guys, I think we all agree that most impressive number here in this game is this one here. 1,000, it barely fits on the screen. 1,007 kills for this Trebuchet unit against live opponents. Guys, no AIs, no levers, just 1,007 kills. You know, once in a while, you got to give yourself a pat on the back. Good job, Mr. Knight here. 1,007 kills for the artillery. That is my record, guys. I've never gotten even close to that before. So, wow. And if you have replays where we have similar numbers against live opponents, do send them in, guys. I love to see just the artillery blowing people up. It's always nice to see in this game. Now, Dominic DW13 did not bring any artillery, but as a result, he had a bigger army. Let's take a look at his numbers. His general also not involved. That's a good thing. The generals, you know, you want to save them for that last stand. We didn't need to do that in this battle. 0 kills for him, not involved in the fighting. And 1 unit of Templars as well, not involved in the fighting with 0 kills. I believe that's the same as me. So those reserves could have still put up a great fight had the battle not been on a 1-hour time limit, which is the standard time limit for our battles. and pretty much the standard time limit that the game sets you with if you don't, touch the time limit. We have the Templar here with 0 kills, but not involved, as I said. And these other 2 units, looks like they did survive to the end of the battle and got some great numbers, 211 kills, 247 kills for these Templar Knight units, each earning a chevron or an experience point in the process. Now his spears, actually much worse numbers. He does have another unit in the reserves here, or that wasn't touched by the fighting, with 0 kills, but these guys here, 6 kills, and 42, each being completely wiped out. So very disappointing numbers here. This unit with better numbers, and this unit with only 25 kills also being completely wiped out. His light infantry, sort of to hold the outer walls that he had sent, 20 kills here and 29 here. Well, what can you say? They were pretty much wiped out. This unit of dismounted Antioch Knights with 110 kills also was sent to hold the outer walls. They did much better. This unit here did get involved in the fighting at the very end, and got 1 kill with, looks like, minimal casualties. And this unit, as part of his reserve, also not involved in the fighting, also just being held back as part of the reserves, and very much capable of putting up a great last stand with everything else we have left. Again, if the game would have gone on. These foot Turcoples here, 63 kills for this unit, completely wiped out. 134 for this archer unit, fantastic numbers, earning an experience point, and 120 for these archers here. So his archers with tremendous numbers. Crossbows, this unit disappointing, only 18 kills, but it looks like half the unit survived and possibly could have got some more. And these 2 units with tremendous numbers, 178 kills here and 94 kills here. Very good numbers for Dominic DW's crossbow units. And moving on to the attackers here, Ganda Burunda now with his 15th century shock infantry. Actually, some of these guys I remember being charged by Cav at the beginning of the battle, and some of them being incinerated by artillery. Overall, disappointing numbers, 48 kills here, 97 kills. So these guys got their money worth, but only 32 kills here for this unit, and all of them wiped out and retreated off the field. So disappointing numbers for 15th century units in a high era or 14th century battle. His general with 9 kills, a few members of the bodyguard had survived and were still fighting, but the general himself was picked off by one of the Antioch archers. His spears, also disappointing numbers, 10, 4, 63, a little better over here. The polearms with good numbers. Now, polearms don't usually rack up the kills. They can hold a position, but they don't usually rack up the kills. So 67 kills with a polearm unit, very good. 43 over here, quite good. His lighter swords with, as expected, lower numbers. 19 kills here, 1 kill and 2. These 2 units just absolutely decimated. And then his heavier swords that were 13th century armored swords, but for the 13th century they were known as the heavy melee infantry. 1 unit in the reserves, no kills here, so still alive at the end of the battle. These units, 48 kills, not bad. 10 units, 69 kills, pretty good for a 13th century unit in a 14th century battle. But overall, nothing too impressive. And these 14th century swordsmen here, 55 kills, quite good numbers. 11 kills, but still alive at the end of the battle. So doing a little better with these 2 units. His archers now completely wiped out, and 0 kills, 8 and 2. So really disappointing numbers. These may have been the archers my artillery incinerated. I'm not sure. Those may have actually been Nicaean archers. So I'm not sure how these archers died looking back at the battle. His crossbows, though, very impressive numbers. 191 kills here with some experience earned by this unit, and still alive at the end of the battle. These 2 units, looks like they both did succumb and were taken off the field, but 54 kills here and 37 kills here. His knights doing very well, 88 kills here, and I believe one of these units took out dismounted Imperial Knights, the dismounted Imperial Knights that were fighting Varangians, I think, at the time, with a rear charge. So some very quality kills here too, not just quantity, but quality units killed. 88 kills for him here and 119 kills here. Now his trebuchet, I think he used to weaken the walls and to take out bastion artillery, and possibly to destroy a wall tower or 2, but only 2 kills here. So obviously much less than our trebuchet. Well, I guess Dominic never brought, than my trebuchet did. But as I said, some of that ammo being sacrificed for structural units that don't count as kills, so you can't see them here. So that's Ganda Barunda. And now let's move on to Caesar, who did follow the rules and brought 14th century shock infantry. Let's see his numbers here. His general with 5 kills. He was charged by some knights, but survived to the end of the battle. And still had about 2/3 of his unit left or so. This unit of Varangian guards still alive at the end of the battle, almost completely healthy, and 36 kills. And these other 2 units, which were completely taken off the field with very impressive numbers, 129 kills and 232 kills. So he made very good use of his high era 14th century Varangian guard units. Now his spear units, again, spears in a siege, maybe a little bit less potential for kills, especially if you're the attacker. 32 here, 38 here, 7 here. Pike units, as expected, not a huge number of kills, 30 kills here, 25 kills here, but this unit surviving to the end of the battle. And then his swordsman, kind of hot and cold, 32 kills, 23 kills, and only 6 here, but then some good numbers, 71, 63, 68, so some good numbers. This unit with 0 kills, possibly the one being shot down by the archers in front of the gates. So as an attacker, you're going to lose units, and certainly some units to those burning siege towers took some losses here. Now his archers, these are the high era archers for Nicaea. 54 kills, 53 kills, 72 kills, and 67 kills. Pretty good numbers. 124 kills here for a light skirmisher unit. So that is excellent use of this unit, earning some experience points. His medium shock cavalry, 85 kills. Very good numbers for medium shock cav, but only 6 kills here. Little disappointing there. And his bombard with only 16 kills. And it was used to open a breach, but again, only 16 kills for artillery is not going to get it done, especially if your opponent gets over 1,000. Now the Greek fire unit here, only 42 kills, but as we saw, at least 30 of them were mounted knights. So again, a lot of quality kills here, and this unit's still alive at the end of the battle. I felt like, as defenders, Dominic and I did a pretty good job of not letting this unit have any open shots. So there were always archers nearby that prevented it from coming too close, or there were units locked in combat with his own units, preventing him from using this unit to its full potential. But still some very quality kills here where he burned some Imperial Knights for Caesar. So good work on that front. All right, guys. Well, this battle was really fun to film. Thank you all for joining me. And we'll look forward to more medieval siege battles here with Midnight Games Online in the near future.